I'm not going to say it has to be an A-list person, but their name has to bring something to the table, right? I'm going to try to give you an example. If you were trying to prove to your boys that you know an NBA player, so y'all show up on the neighborhood basketball court and you brought random NBA player who's always on the bench who never plays. Do you have an NBA player on your team? Absolutely. Will you guys probably win in comparison to the other people who are there who don't have an NBA player on their team? Absolutely. If you show up with Michael Jordan, everybody on the block is going to show up. That's the difference. And let me just use someone else. I'm not too keen on the names of people in sports, so just bear with me. Scottie Pippen, in my opinion, would also be an A-lister, right? He's not Michael Jordan, but he is Scottie Pippen. Whoever you think is the person that's right under that will likely make a little noise too, but they just don't make the same noise that Michael Jordan makes. You know, like there are other people on these basketball teams who are fantastic players, but their names don't move things in the same way, right? You have to be a fantastic player to get on the team in the first place. But that doesn't mean that if somebody goes to church and they're like, oh yeah, we have such and such player from such and such team. If that person doesn't have shoes, is not in commercials, is not all over billboards, the majority of the people in the room are not going to know who they are. So it's not going to move the crowd the same. So it's the same thing. You want someone's name attached. And this is whether you're talking about producers, actors, directors, whoever they are. Their name has to mean something. And what that means is they have a proven track record. If their name also comes with negativity, then now your project has negativity on it, you know? So consider that. The only reason it should be 233 pages is you don't know structure well enough to know where your story is going and know how to get in and out of it. Because a feature film does not have a scope for 4 hours. It's not meant to have a scope for 4 hours. That's not the structure, right? So that probably means that you might be meandering a lot on the page and then you finally get there. Or you are telling multiple stories here and you actually have multiple scripts, but you might not know where the line is between the two of them. So you've put them in one thing, right? Which means that if you separate them, then you might have two writing samples right now that are both under 120 pages instead of one writing sample that is 233 pages. The other thing you might be doing is putting every single thing on the page, and screenwriting just doesn't work that way. So you might be describing every single little thing. You might have a whole lot of dialogue that's unnecessary, you know, things like that that are just that sound cool and sound good, you know, as the writer, as you're putting it on the page. But in reality, if you take it out, the story is still the same. And you don't miss anything. You don't lose anything. I would suggest you look through it again and see where you can cut. Like literally read scene by scene. Every scene heading that you get to, ask yourself, what did I learn in this scene? How does this scene push the story forward? If it doesn't, I don't care how funny it is. I don't care how cool it is. Take it out so that you can get down to what your story actually is. And then we can help you mold it into something that you can take out and do things with. You have 233 pages. And let's say you get to shoot 3/8 of a page per day. How many days of shooting is that? What's great about the fact that I worked in development is that when I teach screenwriting, I don't just teach it from the creative side, I teach it from the business side as well. So I want you as writers to look at this as a business. The creative part is great, right? Like you get to be passionate and write about what you like and all these other kinds of stuff. That's fantastic. But putting that to the side is also a business. And you're walking into someone else's establishment or having to raise the money yourself and saying, I want to make a 4-hour movie. I want to make a 3-hour movie. I want to make a 2-hour movie. I want to make a 30-minute movie. And you have to consider the budget, the amount of locations, the amount of days you have to shoot, the amount of people you're going to have to pay per day. None. And I don't mean that literally, but I mean that in the sense of if they are meeting with you, they're only meeting with you for a small amount of time, and they're not meeting you to hear every pitch you have. They're meeting with you because they were interested in whatever it is that got you the meeting in the first place, and that's the pitch they want to hear. If for some reason they tell you no in the room after 5 seconds, which doesn't happen very often, usually they will just let you talk and then they will email you and tell you no. They won't just go, no, what else you got? Like, I wish that's what it was, but most of the time they don't. But if you have a rapport with this person and you know them well enough, then they may stop you and go, okay, that's not something we're looking for. We already have something like that in development. What else you got? Then if that's the case, then you should have something else. But generally speaking, you're there for this short amount of time to talk about the thing that they brought you in here for, the thing that they, in quotations, got permission to hear about, because likely you had to sign off on some stuff in order to talk about it. And if you didn't sign off to talk about this other stuff, then legally they can't hear it anyway. But what you could say is, okay, I understand that this wasn't for you. Do you mind if we set something else up? Because I think I have something else. And if the rapport is great and they want to hear from you, they go, yeah, speak to my assistant. We'll get the next thing set up. But if not, like, you should always have more ideas because you're a writer and you're trying to prove that this is a career thing for you and not you're not a one-hit wonder who just happened to have an idea. So you should always have ideas, but that doesn't mean that when you meet someone, it's about like, right? Because all of that can be overwhelming. You just kind of have to read the room and see what they're open to listening to. It's not going to be the same answer for each person. It's very subjective, right? But generally speaking, you got the meeting based on this project. So that's the project that you're there to talk about. So think about your budget. Think about, if you're making it yourself, how much time and money you're going to be able to put in to produce it. Think about the number of locations. Think about the number of characters. Think about the fact that you're going to have to feed everybody every day. Think about the fact that if people aren't native or local, you're going to have to house them. You might have to transport them. Think about who you want for actors. Even if they're your friends, put them in some acting classes. Actors can make or break your short film. Get some notes on your script. A lot of independent people, filmmakers, especially writer-directors, I don't know if you're a writer-director, but will often not get any input on their scripts. And I just think that's a bad idea all the way around. There should be somebody out there who you can get some constructive criticism from. Not, I like it, I don't like it, but hey, this is a place where you can tighten up, especially because you're about to spend your own money if you're making it, or whoever's money. Even if it's grant money, it becomes yours, right? So get somebody to look at it to make sure it's tight and it's telling the story you intend to tell before you get out there shooting it. And then just decide on what kind of story you want to tell, because since it is a short, you can do 3-act structure in a short, or you can do a trailer style, or you can just shoot one scene from a longer thing, and make it more of a proof of concept. So it just really depends on what you're doing. Or you can do something totally abstract and experimental, which I don't know much about, so I'm not going to talk about it. I am a more traditional person, and I teach the traditional structures, but it can kind of go in any direction you like. If they're not paying you for it, then you don't have 100 projects to write in a 2-year period. You get to set your own calendar and your own schedule. And my advice is to get disciplined and put it on your schedule. If you wanted to get into the NBA, you'd be at basketball practice at least 6 days out of the week. And then when you get home, you shoot some more in your yard. So the same thing is true as a writer. If that's what you got to get done, get it done. That's my advice. But if you don't have people paying you for these projects, then you don't have 100 projects to complete. And if they are paying you, then they gave you a deadline. So get to it. Script coverage is not notes. Script coverage is more of just kind of like an overall look for marketability. And it's actually not meant for writers, even though we have commodified it and made it into a product, because writers know that script coverage is something that happens behind the scenes and writers wanted to be in the know. So some companies came about and said, cool, we'll do some script coverage for you, but it doesn't help develop you. It kind of tells you it's great for for like some affirmation, confirmation. Is great for like, you're doing well or you're not doing so well. But outside of that, it doesn't really tell you why. It doesn't really help you in your revisions or your rewrite process. So I suggest you look for development notes, not script coverage. Now, granted, at this point, script coverage has become like a catch-all phrase. So you might find consultants who are giving notes but they use the word coverage because now writers are used to that word coverage. So it's really just up to you to do the research to know, am I going to actually get script coverage where somebody just regurgitates my log line and a synopsis to me, which I don't need because I wrote it. So I don't need you to tell me what the log line and synopsis is. And then they tell you that it's good, bad, or in between by saying, recommend or pass. And then they, might give you a paragraph, might give you 2 or 3 pages of their subjective thoughts on it. That's coverage. But development notes is page by page, line by line. And it's more about what's working and what's not and how you can fix it. So you should be looking for development notes versus coverage. Coverage is when you're just looking for somebody to pat you on the back, which some people need. As writers, you want to know that you're moving in the right place. That's the same thing I think about screenplay competitions. Screenplay competitions are just an opportunity for somebody to do this so that you can go, okay, I'm kind of moving in the right direction, right? But it's not the end all be all for your career. Again, be disciplined. The only way you can get around writer's block is writing. That's it. That's it. It's like when, I can't remember what they call it, but gymnasts will get this phenomenon where they can't hit any of their stuff and they're suddenly very, very scared about everything, even though they've been doing it professionally for however long. The only way you can get through it is doing it. That's it. Writer's block comes from 2 places: lack of preparation or lack of confidence. That's it. Because that confidence is your imposter syndrome. That's like, you can't do this. You don't know what you're doing. Everything you write is stupid. Nobody's going to want to watch this. Nobody's going to want to read this. Or this should be just as good as Shonda Rhimes, and it's not. And so I'm a bad person and I'm a terrible writer. Oh no, right? And then you stop writing. Lack of preparation is, I have an idea. I didn't do any prep. I just went to the page and started writing and I got lost. And I don't know how to fix it. And I don't know where I'm going. And man, I got to this part and I just stopped. I don't really know what's next. Well, it's because you didn't do the prep beforehand. You just started writing. And some people like to do it that way. I'm not saying it's a bad idea. I'm just saying it's a bad idea if it's not working for you. So now that this is a safe space and we're having this conversation, which one is it? Confidence or preparation? Well, there is a lot of learning on YouTube. Obviously, you would have to look through it first and make sure that it's going to be age appropriate for her. But I would say, if nothing else, just let her write. There are lots of books out there on screenwriting. There's actually a person who posts things. She used to be on Instagram. I haven't seen her in a while, but she was posting things specifically for kids. Am I going to remember who she is? I don't know. But, as she's watching things, talk to her about what she's seeing and why she feels what she feels about what's happening on the screen, so that she starts to be a little analytical about it. And go online and find age-appropriate scripts. Get the script, not the transcript, and let her read them so that she can start to learn the formatting just by osmosis, just by reading it. And, they don't have a whole lot of resources that are specifically for kids, even when it comes to high schoolers. Like, people don't really start getting into screenwriting until college. So the best thing that she could do right now is learn the format and learn why she likes what she likes, and then just write her own, little stories, however she writes them. Once you feel like, okay, she really is looking into this, buy screenwriting software. It's the equivalent of me needing Microsoft Word when I used to write books, right? Get her some screenwriting software. One that I think is great for kids is called So Create. S-O Create. And the way that screenwriting software works is that it's very visual, and it isn't just writing in the format. It's like putting different parts of the script in different places, like a puzzle, and then it automatically formats the script, which is different for me as a screenwriter who's been doing this for 20 something years, and I just know how to write the script. So for me, it's a little extra work, but I think it will be great for young people because you can visually see what the elements are and then see where they fall on the page. So I would say, if by 13, 14, it seems like there's something she still wants to do, get her So Create. If you think right now, no, this is something she wants to do. Get So Create. I think it's worth it because it's basically like a video game. You know what I mean? That's how I look at it. It's like a video game. And then still, because So Create is more than just software, because it's an online platform, so it's not like software that you have to download onto your computer. It's web based. There are other parts of So Create where you can read other people's screenplays. You can hear them read aloud to you by like AI, etc. That's the part you need to monitor, because anybody can put whatever kind of screenplay they want to put up there. So don't let her go touching those buttons unless you have decided which ones that she can watch, right? But outside of that, it's just a software. I mean, it's just a program, and she can work it how she'd like to. Kind of in no particular order, but the OG is Final Draft. That is the industry standard. That is the one that I use. I personally don't think that it's expensive in the grand scheme of life, but a lot of people choose not to get it because they think it's expensive. It's $199, and they have X amount of sales every year. You could probably get it for $150 and then never buy another one again. Could you upgrade to the next one? Yes. But like an iPhone, if you don't upgrade for 3 or 4, 5 years, your phone is fine. You just want the new one, right? The same thing is true for Final Draft. I haven't upgraded that Final Draft in I don't know how long, and don't have any plans to. I usually end up having to update it when I get a new computer, and my new computer doesn't take that old software. That's how long I keep it, and then I update it. Pay for it one time, and maybe every 5 years go update it. It's fine. That's the OG. That is the one that I think you should use. They are not paying me for this, okay? Here are some of the old heads. Writer Duet has a free version. Fade In, Studio Binder also has a free version. And then the one that you're asking about, Celtics or Celts or however it is you pronounce it, I think it's the worst. I would suggest you not use it. With that being said, if you already understand screenwriting format, screenplay format, then you can use it because you'll know when it does something wrong. If you don't know screenplay format, don't use it, because it's not going to tell you when you do something wrong, and then you're going to send it out and it's going to be wrong. Now, in the grand scheme of things, do people really care about formatting? Yes and no. If you have a fantastic story, your small things of improper formatting are not going to stop a producer from wanting to work with you. But if you're submitting to a screenplay competition, it will, right? If you are submitting to a fellowship, it will. If once you get on set and the rest of the crew has to use your script as the blueprint and it's improperly formatted, it will then affect their ability to do their job. So yes, formatting matters. So I would say if you can afford it, leave Celts, Celtics, however it is you pronounce it, alone and go get one of these others. Now the newbies to the table are So Create, like I said before, and Arc Studio. Arc Studio has a free version, and both of those are cloud-based. So Arc Studio is cloud-based and So Create is cloud-based. And I think Arc Studio is really great. It's just that I don't want to learn something new. That's just me being honest. I enjoy Final Draft. It's the industry standard. It's just what I use. Arc Studio was at one time paying me to talk to people about it. And I'm still saying I prefer Final Draft. But that's just because I've been using it for so long and I just don't want to figure it out, right? But Arc Studio is also great for somebody who hasn't tried anything yet.
And that's it. Want more content? Like, subscribe, and for notifications. Get notes on your script that get you unstuck at www.theprofessionalpen.com.
The professional pen.
I'm out.